All right, guys, Wager Detective here. May 8th, 2026. We're going to cap this New York Mets versus the Diamondbacks game. Mets are a minus 130 on the money line. Again, we'll do a little tutelage here on that. 130 divided by 100 plus 130. They're saying that the Mets have a 56.5% chance of winning this game. Okay, over under sitting at 8.5. Let's get into the surface level cap for what Wager Detective like to do. I already highlighted the games here. These are the night games that the Mets have played this year on the road. 1-1, 1-2, 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, 3-5, 4-5, 4-6, 5-6 on the road in night games this year. Let's take a look at the over-under, which is sitting at 8.5 to the over. Okay, so 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, 4-4, 4-5, 4-6, 5-6. So they're 5-6 on the road this year in night games, and the over/under is exactly the same, 5/6 under that 8.5. We do know they're coming from Colorado, right? We look at some of their losses on the road. St. Louis, San Francisco lost the game there, got swept by the Dodgers. Split a couple night games with the Angels, and then they went to Colorado and they won 2 out of 3, but one of those was a night game, a 10-5 win there. So their losses are against tough teams. Their wins against teams like San Francisco, I'm not impressed. St. Louis, middle of the pack. I think Arizona poses a threat more than any of those teams when it comes to the bats there. If we look at what they've done in their last 5 road games, we'll isolate it to that. So we got a part of that cap done. 5-6 on the road, 5-6 over under on night games, 5-6 to the over 8.5. So if we look at their games, their last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're 3-2 again against the Angels in Colorado. I'm not really impressed, right? 8, 12, 22, 24 runs, about almost 5 runs a game, and they're giving up 5, 7 plus 11, 18 over 5 games, so they're giving up about a little more than 3 runs a game. So against LA and Colorado, I'm not really impressed. If we look here, they had a game on the 4th in Colorado, and then a day off, and then the 6th, and then the 7th. So they're going from elevation. Now they're going to Arizona, and let's see who's going to be pitching tonight. I think it is McLean. He's having a pretty good year this year. If we look at the splits for the Mets, who's going to be on the mound? Ryan Nelson. He's a right-handed pitcher. The Mets are 13-15 against right-handed pitchers this year. In one-run games, they are 3-8. So if this game is tight and sticky, keep that in mind. And they're 6-10 against the National League West. So something to think about there. You wonder why the line is the way it is. Now, if we look at Nolan McLean, right? His last outing was on the 2nd. He's going to be on 5 days rest. He's given up 10 earned runs in the last 15.2. So 10 runs. Let's take a look here. See what his ERA is. So 10, if you want to do that, 10 times 9 equals 90 divided by 15.6. So he's given up. He has a 5.76 ERA in his last 3 outings, right? That's how you do the ERA. You're taking the earned runs times 9 innings, and you're dividing it by the amount of innings he's pitched, which in this case is 15.6, 2/3 of an inning on that. So 15.6. So he's teams are hitting him. Right, teams are hitting me. If you look at the Arizona, we do know that they didn't have a good outing against a good pitcher last time out against when they faced Paul Skeens. He blanked them. So, we're looking at this. He's got a 2.97 ERA, right, over his last 7 outings. But recently, last 3 games, he's given up 3 runs in 2 of those outings against Minnesota, Colorado, and the Angels, who, in my opinion, the Arizona Diamondbacks are a better lineup. They're one of the best ones in baseball. But before that, he has faced the Diamondbacks this year. He does have a loss against them. If we look at this game, Diamondbacks beat him 7-1, right? But it wasn't his fault. if you look at the game, Nelson only gave up 1 earned run, or he actually gave up 0 earned runs through the first 5, and then the bullpen collapsed late. They gave up 4 runs in the 7th, and then 3 runs in the 8th, and then that's how the Diamondbacks got busy there in that game to beat the Mets earlier this year. So again, you see there, that was his one outing. Only gave up 2 earned runs, right, in that game against Arizona, and they lost. How do you give up 2 earned runs and you lost 7-1? I don't understand that. Gave up 2 earned runs against Arizona, but it's saying that he gave up 2 earned runs, but the game ended 7-1. Oh, okay, so never mind, I'm sorry. Yeah, so he only gave up 2 earned runs. So if you look at that, I think Arizona's seen him once already. I think they're going to be more inclined to probably get to him in this game as well. If we look at let's take a look at what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done at home this year in night games. Quickly, I'll try to keep this cap short and sweet. Okay, night game. Highlight this real quick, and then we'll see what they're doing at home and who they're doing it against this year. So they're 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 4-2, 4-4, 6-4 in home night games this year. 16, 18, 24, 30, 35, 46. They're averaging 5.5 runs per game in their home night games this year. Let's take a look at some of the teams they faced. Pittsburgh, not really impressed with. The White Sox scored 18 runs between 2 of the night games there. So you're giving up runs. Looked like Burke and Rodriguez took the brunt of that damage there. And then they beat Toronto. I'm not impressed with their lineup. You lost to Atlanta, another game where you gave up considerable runs. 19 runs in 2 night games against Atlanta, and then you beat Detroit. So it looks like they're giving up runs. Recently, they haven't been giving up runs, but it won 8, 19, 22, 24, 41, 43, 54. So that's a little skewed from the Atlanta game because they did give up 17 in that game. But you look at them recently, we isolate to what they've done in their last 5 games, and we can see here that they are 1-4 in their last 5, and they've scored 15 runs. So they're scoring 3 runs a game over their last 5 against Chicago and Pittsburgh. They've given up 10. They've given up the same amount of runs. So they scored 15 over the last 5. They've given up 15 against Chicago and Pittsburgh. Chicago's got a great lineup, right? And they got them. They tagged them for that one game. It looks like Kelly got rocked in that one game. And then Skeens blanked them. So they've only scored 5 runs over their last 3 games. The bats are just not there. And that could be a problem here against a guy like McLean. Let's see who's on the mound for the Diamondbacks here. As we're past the 8-minute mark here. Trying to tighten it up for you. If we look at what these guys have done. Arizona, 6-6 in 1-run games. So they're better than the Mets in 1-run games this year. And they are 6-4 against the East, where again the Mets are 6-10 against the West. So there are better metrics there. They're 10-8 at home, 2-1 in extra innings. Let's take a look at Ryan Nelson. He's 1-3 in decisions this year, 6.61 ERA. That will tell you a lot on why the Mets are favored tonight. Nelson's given up 15 earned runs in his last 11 innings. Let's do the math on that. I want to see something here. 15 earned runs, so 15 times 9 equals 135 divided by 11. He's got a 12.27 ERA over his last 3 outings. I mean, that's crazy. It's absolutely bananas. His last outing was at the Cubs, where he pitched pretty good. I mean, he pitched great against the Cubs. Let's take a look at what he did in that game. 5.2 innings pitched and only gave up 1 earned run. Pretty solid, right? So considering the fact that he hasn't pitched good over his last 7, he did show promise in that game. And again, he faced the Mets this year on April 8th and only gave up 1 earned run. So both these pitchers have seen these teams this year. The Mets are coming from Colorado to Arizona. That could be a tricky travel spot right there. You know, you're going from elevation now. You're going to the heat, sea level now. You got a good pitcher on the mound. Both these pitchers have seen the opposing teams this year, and they're setting total at 8.5, and it's leaning over the 8.5, slightly juiced to the -120 as we've seen. And if we look at this guy against the Mets in his career, he is, whenever he starts against them, he's only 1-4 in his last 5 starts with a 6.85 ERA. So right there tells you a lot, right? Even though the Mets aren't playing that good on the road this year, I think it's a cautionary to take the Diamondbacks, even though it's tempting. They're getting plus money, but their bats haven't really been alive. And we've seen the Mets; they can score runs. We see what they do on the road in night games. They can score runs. Now McClain already lost to this team. I'm going to call it now. I'm going to just surface level cap. I don't want to hem and haw about it. I just feel like the Mets are the sharper side here, and it looks like they're garnering more money to the Mets right now. They are -136, so that did move a couple points from where it was earlier, and I think the Mets are the play, considering the fact that this guy Nelson's not pitching good. He had a good outing last outing, but he has a 6.5 ERA. He only gave up 1 run in his last outing. I don't know if he's going to have back-to-back outings like that. I think the Mets could kind of get to them. One thing I do want to look at that we didn't on Baseball Reference here is how they've played in the last 10. Mets 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, 5-3. So 5-5 the last 10 between these teams when they play. The Mets are averaging 3, 7, 14, 15, 20, 25, 28, 36, 3.6 runs per game, and the Diamondbacks are averaging 14, 17, 18, 23, 27, 31, 35, 38, 40. So if you just base it off that, I mean, numbers sitting at 8.5. These teams last 10 don't really score against each other, and then again, the Mets are coming from Colorado. So it could be a tricky travel spot, but I think the Mets will do enough to get runs on the board here. The more I look at it, these two teams have played 3 times this year, back in April, and Arizona did win 7-1, 7-2, and then the Mets won the first game of the series, and then Arizona closed out the Mets to win the series by winning the last 2, scoring 7 runs. 14 runs in the last 2 games, and where the Mets only scored 3. I think the Mets, they get right here. I really do. I think they get right. I don't think Arizona's been hitting the ball well, and you got Ryan Nelson on the mound. I think they get to him. So that's Wager Detective's call here. Going to go with the New York Mets, -136. I know it's a little chalky. We like giving out plays here that have a little less chalk than that, but that's the lean there with McClain on the mound. And 8.5. I think if it's going to go over 8.5, I think the Mets cover the run line. So you're probably better off taking the Mets -1.5 plus 125 if you like the over. But if you just like one play here, I think the Mets are the play. So follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Set alerts for Twitter. This is Wager Detective. I'll talk to you soon.